I mean, I guess what's really fantastic is to see how this kind of almost making was kind of a trigger for a very, very diverse set of responses in terms of types of businesses, but that you are all still involved in shaping the business as well now and shaping the identity. If there was a kind of a value that you talked about, the mission that you're that puts you in, it's a difficult question, but what sector do you see yourself in? Because you're talking about the mission in environmental terms, and you're talking about interior design, or are you talking about household, light bulb, light shade, what sector do you see yourself in?
Well, so we're kind of cross sector. I mean, it's one of the big challenges. So, you know, we're in a bunch of different categories, but not in one. I mean, it is the category we started is growing. So when you walk into a electric shop, there'll be a bunch of low energy light bulbs that are more designer in their kind of orientation, and obviously a lot of technologies come through, but it's not really a category. I talked to Jane. Does everybody know Sugru? Do you know Sugru? So I talked to Jane now and again, and she's got a very similar issue, which is this stuff is fantastic, and as soon as people get it, like they're hooked. But the problem we have from a category standpoint is it's not glue, and it's not plasticine. It's somewhere in the middle, and because it's somewhere in the middle, you sort of don't appreciate this when you just sort of think that's cool, and you understand the channels to access it. When you want to sort of scale it in retail, it becomes really important because it's like, they're talking to B&Q, and it's like, well, where are we going to put it? And there's the sort of retail question, which is, well, okay, you have to deal with the adhesives buyer, and then the adhesives buyer has to figure out what shelf it goes to. Does it go next to Yoo-hoo, or does it go next to Pritt Stick, or does it go next to so-and-so? And then the customer has to go through the same processes, which is, I really want some of that Sugru stuff. Where am I going to find it? Is it going to be near the spades, or the gloves, or is it going to be in the adhesives bit? Is it going to be in the craft section? And actually, there are lots of problems that emerge from that. But at the same time, of course, if you are a category leader, if you shape a category, and you're the category leader or one of the category leaders, that's a great place to be, because then, you are not only the, it's like the Hoover thing or something like that.
Yeah,
Not
who's
only
next to you, rather
the sort of
than,
destination, you're sort of inherently kind of associated with the category. It's just it's a bigger job.
But who are the biggest specifiers for you now? Is it interior designers, or is it private client?
We're just figuring that out, actually, but it's mainly driven by interior designers and specifiers and architects. That's where a lot of the stuff comes from. But
so more contract than domestic?
In terms of volumes, probably, but there's a marketing aspect to that as well, which is what drives the domestic market is increasingly the contract market. So, if you think about like 30 years ago, spaces in shops were very, very different to home spaces, and now actually they're kind of merging. So the coffee shop is like a living room, and the living rooms are sort of informed increasingly by the kind of coffee shop and so on. So it's a much more like mixed. So in a way, from a marketing point of view, obviously it's much better for us to connect to specifiers and interior designers, because they might spec like hundreds or thousands of different units a year, when the end consumer might change their lighting once every 10 years or something like that. So actually, we're starting to align more around that. And obviously, working with designers and interior designers and architects means that when they do implement your product, they're going to do it in a really spectacular way. They're not going to do it by halves, and they've got the skills to be able to really figure out how to put it in the right place, and how to spec it the right way for the light output and the experience. And so when people come into contact with it, then it's really impressive, and also they tend to photograph it really well for their own purposes, and that's collateral.
But I've also seen it a lot in kind of special gift to someone who cares about the environment from a kind of design shop
it's another
than.
And it operates well. I mean, it's sort of, in a way, it's sort of it's not one single category. It's a different thing to different people in different places and different contexts, which is sort of an advantage, but it makes your activity very fragmented. Yeah.
Okay.